Good evening, everyone. This is Bremster, and tonight I'm coming to you with a puzzle by Scott Strosahl. Scott is a very popular YouTuber now and doing puzzles of various types. He occasionally does Sudoku videos now. Mostly he's doing word games, and I'll throw a link to his channel above because, Scott is also one of the people involved in what is now called the Puzzle Plaza community. It was previously the Sudoku solvers, but now that there's a lot more people involved and most of the stuff that's being done is either word games or GeoGuessr or other sorts of puzzle games, Sudoku solvers seems to be less appropriate. So the server has been through a rebranding and is now the Puzzle Plaza. So if you join us on the Puzzle Plaza, which is where the Bremster discussion channel is now, then you will be able to chat to me in the Bremster discussion. There is a Scott Strosahl's channel there where you'll be able to chat to Scott. He has a lot more followers than me. I think he just hit 50,000 subscribers. Yeah, very popular chap. And one of the things he did is he sent me this puzzle. This is a puzzle called Don't Block My View by Scott Strosahl. And this uses a Sudoku constraint that I've not done very often and I'm probably going to be bad at. So let's have a look at it, shall we? So the rules in play. We've got normal Sudoku rules. So in every box, in every row, and in every column, the digits 1 to 9 must be placed without repetition. In this grid, we have nothing. There is nothing in this grid whatsoever. The grid is completely devoid of clues. No thermos, no lines, no cages, no nothing. This is an empty grid. It is bereft. It is... moving on. What we have is outside this grid, we have skyscraper clues, and they will come in useful because this is a non-consecutive grid. So what that means is if I was to put any digit, let's pick a 7 in this cell right here, these cells here, not only couldn't they be 7s because of Sudoku rules, they also can't be 6s or 8s because you cannot have consecutive digits orthogonally adjacent to a digit. So if I was to put a 6 there, that's wrong because that is consecutive. If I was to put an 8 there, that would be wrong because they are consecutive. So they are not possible. So that provides quite a significant constraint to a grid. The sandwich, I said sandwich, didn't I? Skyscraper clues, they are skyscraper clues, skyscraper. The skyscraper's clues, and I apologize if people saw me say sandwich and then went on, please read the rules. The skyscraper clues mean that a number outside the grid indicates how many buildings you will be able to see if the clues were a building of the height of the clue. So as an example, let's use this row. So I'm going to use row 5 as an example. This is a 2 clue. So what we know from that is in this direction, you will be able to see 2 buildings. Now, if this building was a 6, then any building that is higher than it after that would be visible, because if you're looking at a building, if we were to put, say, a 4 under it, and you're looking from this direction, the 4-story building you couldn't see because it's shorter than the 6-story building. And we could even put a 5 there and it wouldn't be visible because you couldn't see it beyond the 6. But once I put a 9 here, that would be a legal skyscraper clue, because what would happen then is I would see the 6, I would see the 9, but I couldn't see anything beyond it because the 9 is the tallest possible building and everything beyond that will be shorter than the 9. So that's how skyscraper works. It's a little bit tricky, so let's give this a shot. So one thing I know is that 9s, anything that is a single skyscraper clue, so those cells there must be 9s. And the reason for that is if I didn't put a 9 into those cells, then immediately, like if I put a 9 in this row, even here, or even here, then this would be something lower than 9 and I would see 2 buildings. So these must be 9s, otherwise the 1 clues aren't going to work. So that means that these can't be 8s, but can I do more with 9s? So 9 has to go in one of those two. How am I going to break into this puzzle? So like, I know down here, 9 has to be in one of those two. And the reason for that has nothing to do with the given 9s, but it has to do with these clues. Because this is a 4 skyscraper clue, so I have to see at least 4 buildings. And if I was to put a 9 in any of those slots, if I was to put it there, this would be a 1 clue. Here, this would be a 2. Here, this would be a 3. So when I'm positioning... So maybe what I should do is highlight where 9s can't be. 9s can't be there. 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 So let's just, exclude all the Sudoku possibilities. 9s can't be there. I think that's all the Sudoku stuff. Now, I did notice here, so anything with a 9 can't be in a position where if this is a 4, it can't be in the first 3. If it's in a 3, it can't be in the first 2. And if it's a 2, it can't be in the first 1. So the entire border is already knocked out by the Sudoku stuff. So can't be there. 9 can't be there. So 9 is in one of those two. So these can't be 9, and 9 is in one of those 3. 9 can't be those. That's already knocked out. 9 can't be in those. 9 can't be in... Well, actually, those 9s are knocking 9 out of those. 9 can be in any of those. 9 can't be there. 9 is in one of those. That's not as helpful as I thought. Have I missed a clue somewhere? I don't see how I have. Because I can only eliminate the first 2 there, the first 1 there, first 3, first 2, first 3, first 1, first 2. And I'm ignoring the Sudoku stuff. First 2, first 1, first 1, first 2, first 3, first 3, first 1, first 2, first 2, first 1, first 2, first 1, first 2. That can't be a 9. Because if that's a 9, I don't get the 4 clue. That's not a 9. That is not a 9. This is a 9, and this is a 9. So this is not a 9. So these are not 9s. First 1, first 3, first 3, first 1, first 3, first 3, first 1, first 3, first 3, and first 2. So do I have enough? Surely what I now have to do is go down and look at 8s, but how do I make that work? Can I get more on these 9s? Maybe I look at 8s, because I've pencil marked all the possibilities for 9. So where can't 8 go? So what I'm going to do is 8 can't go in any spot where a 9 is. 8 can't go in any spot adjacent to a 9 because of the non-consecutive rule. 8 can't go on a 9 domino because if I put an 8 there, that would be a 9 and that would break the non-consecutive rule. So they can't be. I can't put 8 in the middle of a run of 9s because if that was an 8, one of those would be a 9 and that would break the non-consecutive. I can put it at the end and that would force the 9 at the other end, but I cannot put 8 in either of those two. Now, if I was to put 8 here, then this would be a 2 clue. So that's not an 8. If I put 8 here, this could be a 4 clue. If I put 8 here, this would be a 2 clue. So that's not an 8. So 8 is in one of those two, which means none of those are 8. If I put 8 here, this is a 2 clue. So that's not an 8. If I put 8, so 8 is in one of those two, which means none of these are 8, which means one of these is an 8. And if I put 8 there, then the only thing I could see above it would be a 9. And that, yeah, okay, 8 knocks out the first 2 cells of a 4 clue because the only thing you can see past it is a 9. So a 3 clue, it knocks out the first cell. So that is not an 8. That is not an 8. This is the 8. And this is similar to what I did with the 9s, where with a 9, it knocked out a 4, it knocked out the first 3. With an 8, with a 4, it knocks out the first 2. And with a 3, it knocks out the first 1. So this is an 8. None of these are 8s. And then I can go around saying this is a 4. So this can't be an 8 because if this is an 8, the only thing past it would be... So that's not an 8. So this is the 8, which means this is not a 9. But 8 is knocked out of the first 2 because if it's in the first 2, even if it's here, I could have 1 digit lower, 1 digit higher, and this would have to be a 3 clue. So 8 knocks out the first 2. 2, it doesn't knock out any. 4, it knocks out the first 2, and this becomes an 8. So I get the 8 there, which puts 8 in one of those two. But in 4, it knocks out the first 2. So they're not 8s. So this is the 8. This is not the 8. This is very clever. 3, or none of these are 8s anymore because of the 8 down here. I could have done Sudoku. None of these are 8s anymore. None of these are 8s anymore. 3 knocks out the first 1. 4 knocks out the first 2. 3 knocks out the first 1. 4 knocks out the first 2. So 8 is in one of those two, which means that's not an 8. Which means 8. This is an 8-9 pair. No, it's not an 8-9 pair. 9 could be there. But 8 is in one of those two. Don't miss... Because I'm now highlighting 8s, I'd missed the 9. But I can't do that. But 8 is in one of those two, which means that can't be a 9. Because if that's a 9, I couldn't place an 8 in this box. That's not the 9. This is the 9. 8 is in one of those two. This is clever. If 8 is here, then this is 9. If 8 is here, one of those is 9. So what about this middle box? Can I do anything here? This is tricky. I did say I've not done many skyscraper puzzles, so it could be just that I don't know what I'm doing. Now, I did knock out a 9 somewhere. I knocked out that 9. and I got that 9, which means those aren't 9. What am I even talking about? That is a 9. So that is not a 9. So 9 is in one of those, which means these can't be 8s. That can't be an 8. Because if I put 8 in either of those, then it'll cause a problem. That's not an 8 because it's next to a 9. This is an 8. So these are not 8. These is not 8. 8 is in one of those two. Oh, this 8 is seeing that, which is seeing that. That's an 8. This is not an 8. So these are not 8. And I've got 8 down to this and 9's down to this. And I don't see how to get that any further unless I look at... But I did all the skyscraper stuff when I did the highlighting. But 7s are going to be restricted as well. So if I get rid of all the highlighting, and then I mark all the 9s and all the 8s. In fact, what I might do is I might mark all of the digits a different color so that I can keep those highlighted forever. Now, 7s can't go next to 8s at all. So I can mark anything that can't be a 7 in green. And a 7 can't go in the first spot of a 4. Because if it was, I'd go 7, 8, 9, and then it'd be broken. But I could still put it in the first spot of a 3. So a 7 cannot go in the first spot of a 4. So any spot which starts with a 4 cannot be a 7. So 7 is in one of those two, which means that's not a 7. So 7 is in one of those two, which means that's not a 7, and that is a 7, which means there's no 7 in any of those. That's a 7-9 pair, so there's no 7 there, which means that's a 7, which takes 7 out of all of those. This is incredible. How do you come up with something like this? Now, if this is 9, 7, then this will have to have two things that lead up to 9. But if this is 7, 9, there'll only be one thing that leads up to it. So these would have to be lower than this, because this would be 2 digits, 7 and 9, because it doesn't see the 8. Which means that can't be 7. Because if that's 7, I need something between 7 and 9 to make the 3 skyscraper clue, and the 8's not available. That's not 7. So 7 is in here, and it can't be in the middle, because if it's in the middle, it'd be next to an 8. That's not a 7. This is a 7-8 pair. That's not a 7, because it would be next to an 8. 7 is in one of those two, so that's not a 7. So 7 is in one of those two. Oh, there's going to be more of that sort of trick, isn't there? How do you find that? If this is 7, this becomes 9. And I go something 7, 9, and I can't put anything between the 7 and the 9. That can't be a 7. which means in this row, that's the 7. This is absolutely insane. Scott is a master puzzle setter. He really is. Now that could be anything. So this 2 clue is done. I've got no way of marking that the clue is done, but it is absolutely done. If this is a 7, the puzzle's broken. Because I'd go 7, I'd need something between the 7 and the 9 to make the 3 clue, but I don't have it because the 8's not available. That's not a 7. This is a 7. This is not a 7. This is not a 7. 7 is in one of those two. And this clue is fine, it's done. And this clue is fine, it's done. That could be a 7 there, no problem. If this is 7, 8, 9, that would be fine. Now, if that's an 8, yeah, that works. It works from this direction. If this is an 8, one of these is a 9, 7 is here. Hang on, if that's 7, it may not work from the left to the right though, because if that's 8, this is 7, one of those is 9, I don't have the 8 to put between the 7 and... This can't be 7. Because if this is 7, I go first clue, second clue, third clue, and I can't put the 8 between the 7 and the 9. This cannot be 7. This is the 7. Holy cow, Scott. I have no idea how you do this sort of stuff, but it is masterful to watch and a pleasure to solve. 7 in this column now must go there, so that's not the 7. And I'm now down to these. It is beautiful to watch. So how can I resolve that? That middle box is going to be a pain, isn't it? If I'm not seeing what I can do to resolve that any further. I think I need to go on to 6s now. So what I probably want to do now is highlight the 7s and make them yellow, highlight the green and get rid of it. Oh, there's an 8 there, so that becomes yellow. And now I want to look at 6s. So 6s can't go there because that's a pair. 6s can't go next to 7s. But 6s aren't restricted by the skyscraper clues at all. Because a 6 can go at a 4 by default. Now 6 is in here, so this is not 6. Now 6 is in here, so these are not 6. 6 is in here, so these are not 6. 6 can't be in here because that would put it next to the 7. So there'll be a skyscraper trick that breaks it. Like that can't be a 6 because it would go 6, 8, 9 and I can't put the 7 in here to make it a 4 clue. So that's not a 6. So 6 is in one of those two. Now, if this is a 6, then the only digits higher than the 6 I've got are 7, 8, 9. I can't use an 8. So if this is a 6, the best I could get is a 3 by going 6, 7, 9. So that can't be a 6. This is the 6. So this is not a 6, and that is green. These become green. This becomes a 6. So this becomes green. Six is in here, but not telling me anything. Maybe it is. Now, this needs to be a 4 clue. Wait a minute. This needs to be a 4 clue. If I go... But all the digits higher than 6 are already done. So this is lower than 6. Done. This can't be higher than 6 because 7, 8, and 9 are done. So if this is 1, 2... If that's a 9, I've only got a 3 clue. That has to be the 7. That has to be the 9. Otherwise, I can't fulfill the 4 clue. So that's the 9. That's not the 9. That's the 7. That's not the 7. These can turn yellow. Does that do anything for these 8s? Not yet. But that's now known. That's crazy. Hang on, no, that 8 is making that the 8. So that can turn yellow. This is not the 8. So there's no 6 there because that's a 7. So 6 is in one of those two. This is bonkers good. I have no idea. If 6 was there, I'm broken because of the same reason. This would go 6, 8, 9, and there'd be nothing I could put in there to do it. So 6 can't go in there. So 6 is in one of those two, and now 6 can't go in any of those. 6 has to go in one of those two, so that is not a 6. Now, are any of those not possible? No, 6, 7, 8, 9 works, and 6, 8, 9 works. So that's all fine. 6 there might be a problem because then I would go 6, 8, 9 and I'd have no way to break that up. So 6 can't go there. And now this is the only place for 6 in the row. So these are not 6. 6 is in one of those two. This is not 6. This is a 6, which takes 6 out of all of those. This 6 has taken 6 out of those. This is a 6. This is not a 6. This is a 6. This is not a 6. This is a 6. And I've got 6 down to this. And that's not resolved. But I've got all the 7s, 8s, and 9s. I've been messaged by my parents, but I'm going to ignore it because I think if I lose my focus on this puzzle. So I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to select all the 6s and mark them yellow because now I can work on the 5s. This is so clever. So 5 can't go next to 6. So anything next to a 6 can get highlighted. Anything on a 6 domino can get highlighted. I think they're the ones that can't be 5. So that is a pair of 5, so that can't be a 5. So that's a pair of 5, so that can't be a 5. There's going to be more of these skyscraper tricks, aren't there? Like that can't be a 5. Because if that was a 5, I would go 5, 8, 9, and I'd have no 6 or 7 to go in this cell to give me the 4. So that's not a 5. So 5 is in one of those two. In this column, 5 has to go in one of those two, so that is not a 5. Here. No, I've got this clue already. This is 6, 7, 9. This 3 is done. Here. No, because this would be lower than 5, and that's all good. This clue, 2 clue is done. If that was a 5, no, I'd go 5, 7, 9, and that is fine. That may not be able to be 5, though. Because if that is 5, now I've got to think about this the other way. Because if that is a 5, this would have to be lower than 5. And I'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, and that would break the 3 clue. That can't be a 5. Oh, now I've got to start thinking, but now that I'm going on low digits, I need to start thinking about it the other way and thinking about, do the digits that are not in the end, would it break the clue? So, for example, if that was a 5, then I would go 9, 8, 5, and these would have to be lower than 5, and that would be a 4 clue. That can't be a 5. This must be the 5 in the column. This is not the 5. This is the... This 5 in this column has to be in one of those two, so that is not a 5. 5 in this column has to be in one of those two. That's not a 5, which I could have got from just that 5. This is not a 5. This is a 5. So that is not a 5. And I hope people are happy with me doing the colouring this way. That's a 5. That is not a 5, because it really does allow me to visualise it. I don't like too many colours when I'm colouring, but something like this is very useful. Where can 5 go in this row? That is a 5. That is not a 5. I can't believe I haven't been able to resolve these 6s yet. So this is now 5, 7, 9, and that has resolved that clue. This is 5, 9, that's resolved. This is 8, 9, that's fine. This is 7, 9, that's fine. 6, 9 is fine. This has got to be higher. No, this has got to be lower than this. Those 5s and 6s still are not resolved, are they? Now, I'm starting to get down to quadruples. I'm starting to think I just fill in quadruples and look rather than do the... I don't know. Because when you're down to just quadruples, it might actually be possible. So if I get rid of all of that, I'm trying to decide whether I get rid of the yellow as well. I might do that. And then these are 1, 2, 3, 4. That can't be 4. Now, we did say, because this needs to be a 4 clue, that this needs to be lower than that. So that can't be a 1. These are 1, 2, 3, 4. That can't be a 4. That can't be a 4. So 4 is in one of those two. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. And 4 can't be in either of those. So 4 is in one of those two. Now this column needs a 1, 2, 3, 4, but I can't put 4 in either of those because 4 is down here. These are 1, 2, 3, 4. That's not 4. Maybe this wasn't the right way of doing it, but I kind of committed now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now this is already 5, 8, 9, so that's locked in. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So these are 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I think I may have done this wrong, but I'm going to... So these are 1, 2, 3, 4. That's not a 4. That can't be a 2. And that can't be a 2. Because if that was a 2, this couldn't be a 1 because it would be consecutive with a 2. That couldn't be a 2 because it would be next to a digit, the same digit. And that couldn't be a 3 because it would be consecutive with a 2. That can't be a 2. And for the same reason, that can't be a 2. And that can't be a 2. So anything consecutive with a 1, 2, 3 can't be a 2. And similarly, anything consecutive... So this can't be a 3 or a 3 because... If this was a 3, this couldn't be a 3 or a 4. So anything consecutive with a run of digits cannot be in the middle of the digit or... So this can't be a 2. But it only works for triples. So this can't be a 2. This is a 1, 2, 3 triple. So this is a 4. There's no 4 in here. There's no 4 up here. Right, maybe this wasn't insane. I mean, insanity is in the eye of the beholder, but only if it uses that particular attack on you and you fail your saving throw. One for the Dungeons and Dragons nerds. These are 1, 2, 3, 4. That's not a 4. That's not a 4, so that's a 4. So, hang on, I got a 4 here, so that's not a 3. So there's a 3 in one of those, which has got to put some pressure on here, except these have still got 5 and 6 available, so maybe not. And we did say this had to be lower than this. Got to remember the skyscrapers as well. So these are 1, 2, 3, and 6, but that one can't be 3. And these are 1, 2, 3, 4, and neither of those can be 4 because they're next to 5. That's the 4, which means there's no 4 in either of those. That can't be a 2 because if that was a 2, this could neither be a 1 or a 3. This is the 1. This is the 3. There's no 1 or 3 there. That's 2. That's 4. That's 4. There is no 4 there. This is beautiful. There is no 3 there. There's no 3 in either of those, which means this is the 3. That 2 is taking 2 out of both of those. So this can't be a 2 because it'd be consecutive with a 1 or a 3. Two is now in one of those two, so this is not a 2. This is a 1, 3, 4, so this is a 2. So there's no 2 in those, there's no 2 there. Absolutely gorgeous. When Scott Strosahl sends you a puzzle, or makes one available to you, have a look. So that's not a 4 because it'd be consecutive with a 5. And because it's in the same column as a 4 if you want an, easy reason. So 4, well, 4 can't be there because it would be in the middle of the 5. Because 5 has to go in one of those two cells. So that can't be a 4. So that's a 1-3 pair. That is a 4. So this is a 1-3 pair. So this is a 2. There is no 2 here, and there's no 2 here. So what are these? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's a 4-5 pair. Wait a minute. What have I... Oh, that 6 means there's no 6 there. There was no 6 there anyway because of that. This is a 1, 2, 3 triple, so that's the 6. 4, 5. One of those has to be a 4, so that can't be a 3. If that was a 3, there'd be no 4 in either of those. That's the 1, that's the 3. There is no 1 there, there is no 1 there, there is no 3 there. This is a 1, 2, 3 triple. That's not a 6. This is the 6, and that has to be the 4. Can't put 5 next to a 6. This is the 5. This is not the 5. That makes this the 4 and this the 5. This is not the 4. This is the only place left for the 4 in the box. This now has to be the 1 because you can't put 3 next to a 4. You can't put 3 next to a 4. This is a 3 because of the 1 in the column, which makes this the 2, this the 1, this the 3, that makes this the 3, this the 1, this the 2, which makes this the 1, and this the 2. This is not a 2, this is not a 2. This 1 looks over making this the 3. These are now 1 and 2, and this 2 was, oh, beautiful ending. Absolutely glorious. This 3 makes this a 1. There is no 1 here. These, I assume, are a 2, 3, but that 3 right there resolves a 2, 3. This is a 1, and the final digit I need to put in is a 2, and that completes the puzzle. That was stunning. As in, yeah, once again, I feel stunned. Thank you very much, Scott. That was beautiful. I was a little bit nervous about a non-consecutive skyscraper with no clues in the grid, but that taught you how to do it. Wow. I hope everyone I know I say this every video, but it's because these puzzles are so cool. They are really amazing. Whoops, sorry about the camera wobble. Sorry. That was so cool. That was so much fun. I'm going on holidays and I'm going to miss doing puzzles like this, but when I get back, everyone's going to have sent me puzzles to do, aren't you? And I'm going to have a queue that's way too long to manage, and I'm going to have to apologize to a lot of people, right? Right? Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you, Scott, for the puzzle. And as always, everyone, good luck with your solving.